Okay, we will, my mic, my recorder. We will call to order this special meeting of the Board of Selectmen on Thursday, February 9th at 3:00 p.m. Roll call, Dana Bennett for Selectman. To my left is Richard Matters, Selectman. To his left is Todd Babbitt, Selectman. And we have one member of the public present, Jim Barney. Number 2, discussion and possible action on 2023-2024 departmental budgets. So, Mr. Barney, you are up for capital improvement.
What number were we?
It's
5801. 80, I'm
No,
sorry,
8501.
8501.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to present the capital budget. The committee has prepared this budget. I think it was unanimous support for it. All of the major stakeholders were interviewed. This is the 5-year plan here that I'm passing out right now. The total amount of requests you will see at the bottom. This is for the bottom after the items. The next column over is the total cost was $11,312,000 rounded off, which averages to $2.62 million annually. If we go over to the first yellow line, right after that is the requests that were actually prioritized for this year's budget. And on the blue line, you will see the actual numbers that the committee reduced the requests to, which brings us to a total of 1.5 million rounded off. Few comments on the 5-year plan. Total Board of Ed requests for the 5 years was 1.24 million. Requested this year was 610,000, and we funded 267K of that budget. That shows up there on that blue line where the intersection with the pink line is, that 267,407. The next one down that was of any significance was the public health and safety, which was 1.57 million requested. 33.5K this year. The public health and safety was really tiny this year compared to most years at the 33.5K. The public works for 5 years is 8.2 million. Requested this year was 3.27 million, and funded this year is 1.16 million, of which 1.2 million is allocated to the road. And the last one is the general government. The overall request for 5 years was $363,000. This year, requested this year was $251,000, and funded this year was $47,000. So that's the bottom line on the 5-year plan. Are there any questions, comments, or suggestions on the 5-year plan?
You said general government was 47,000?
The general government that we, the general government, oh, I'm sorry.
46.
46,000, yeah. All right, I probably did say 47, but yeah, I did say 47.
What's
That's
included in that $46,000?
okay, that's the $6,000 was for computer and server upgrades in the blue line. And then $10,000 was the
I
IT
see.
infrastructure.
Okay.
All right.
And any elevator upgrade, right?
Yep. At 30,000. So bringing the total budget for this year requested was $1.506907.
So for the schools, we have, is that what the top one is? Total Board of Ed,
Yeah.
bollards for the campus, email server upgrade. Okay.
Yep. Down to the last one was that 24, which was a new carpet for the auditorium. If I'm reading across there correctly. Yep.
I'm seeing. In the blue line is what you have funded.
That's what they're
That's what you're
requesting.
requesting
What's
for
the
funding.
request,
Yes,
yes.
The one line before that
is
is what
what they need.
Their total request.
their total,
Does anybody have questions?
well. I noticed. Roads got. Cut. Again,
No.
a little,
No,
well,
yeah.
the request, what the plan called for and
Yeah.
what they.
Yeah.
We funded.
Yeah.
That's,
That's just the first cut. There'll be another whack at them.
I know,
Always is.
So these are all in our other spreadsheet from Eric also, it looks like.
yes,
Yeah, they look like they're all
that's
in there.
correct.
All right, any questions for Jim? We're all set.
That's it.
All right. Very good. Thank you, Jim.
Well, I'm gonna give you a 20-year plan too.
Okay. Thank you.
This is where things got to get. And we, on the 5-year plan, we've been underfunding it year after year after year, so that the balance generally just keeps increasing. We can, always start at the, right at the very bottom there, the project totals. And we can go into them individually. We got requests of $50.5 million. Okay, overall and I'm sure, even though I've worked with Todd trying to get as much of it as we can, I'm sure there's things that we're still missing on this sheet. That averages out to funding $2.5 million annually for the plan for the next 20 years. Okay. There are some places here where I've coded it. That's first kind of light orange line. That's when the GHS root bond is paid off, just so we have some idea of when some of these bonds are being paid off. And then the heavy orange line is the 5-year plan. That should, unless I made transposition errors, that should line up pretty closely with the 5-year plan. I'll just take a quick look at my notes.
You do any work with Eric considering debt retirement? Or not yet?
Not yet, no. No. I mean, you're talking about what I've got listed here.
Well, you're talking about the school roof.
Yeah.
Bond.
Yeah.
We've said for a number of years that when the bond is paid, that money is now available in the budget if we continue to pay that same payment for another bond.
Yes.
But typically we haven't had that opportunity because there's another project that comes up that steps in and we get lost.
And it looks like we've got that right now.
Yeah, we just had that happen again, so now here we go again.
Yep.
And it's unfortunate that we never get the opportunity to take advantage of some of that debt retirement for capital. And it's been going on for years, and I don't know what the answer is.
Good point.
I will digress for a moment if you allow that. And that was at one of the finance board meetings. They were talking about the 17.2% of the surplus funds. Reserve fund, I don't know if it was 17.2, but somewhere around there, and they were talking about cutting that back. And at the public forum, I suggested that rather than cutting it back, let's build it towards 20%. Okay, so that we have some additional funding that we can go out and start to do some of these other things that we keep deferring. I mean, on the 5-year plan, you'll see there's only 2 things funded. That was the roads. And what was the second thing they talked about? The John Deere 410G. The fourth item on that, down here, the fourth item is the Elgin sweeper. We didn't fund that $240,000, and that's an health hazard for our workers. I just wanted to say about the surplus fund that they're talking about actually reducing that number. So if you want to look at if you look at the column on the left-hand side, you can see that the school, and if you follow, it's the fourth column, and you follow it down to each pink line, the school is at $14.5 million over the 20-year period. The total human services is at about 300,000. Public health and safety, almost $8 million over 20 years. And public works, close to 28 million over the 20-year period. So we've got some pretty hefty expenses coming up. And what time is the next presentation then?
3:15.
Oh, okay, well, I'm gonna take and go very quickly then. I'll leave you with that to study and analyze, but what I wanted to do is this. I did some projections on where the budgets are going to be based on those numbers that we just talked about. And what this is a calculation of the interest at various rates over the 5-year period and over the 20-year period. And it's astronomical from my perspective. Let's just take it. Let's look at a 5% annual inflation rate. And we're starting with a 2.26 budget for the 5-year plan. That grows to 2.88, which is a 28% increase. If we move out to 7%, which is maybe not unrealistic at this particular point, we go from 2.2 to 3.2 million, and that's a 40% increase. But now let's look at the 20-year plan. Okay, the same column, the 20-year plan at 5%, that grows from 2.5 million to 6.7 million over 20 years. And if we go out and look at a more realistic number, which is probably 7%, that grows from 2.5 to nearly $10 million in 20 years. That's the major point of where the funding is. So thank you for the time to make that presentation.
Thank you, Jim, for all of your work. I really appreciate all these spreadsheets, how you get things out for 20 years. I think that's very helpful. Doesn't mean we have more money, but it helps us when we're making decisions. You know, we have to think about how are we going to get more in the budget to do these things.
You gotta think about long-term planning.
Absolutely. So any other questions for Jim? No? Okay. Thank you so much, Jim. Appreciate that. All right. Oh, no, we actually had, well, I might have actually shut my thing off.
Yeah, I thought I had 20 minutes.
You actually do have more time.
Oh,
Do
okay.
you have any more that you want to go into?
We can look at the 20-year plan a little more if you want to. I'm not sure what other points to make on it. One of the things we've talked about is trying to get another lease purchase going, and certainly I was hopeful that might happen when the roof bond terminated, because I think that was around 700,000.
The whole thing, I think we estimated at $1 million when they were doing it, but I don't know what it ended up at.
Yeah, I don't know at this point.
We know that the Board of Finance has said in the past, they don't want to bond roads.
Yeah,
They don't want to what?
They don't want to bond roads. They're 100% against that. So,
Mhm.
If you bond something else or you do another lease purchase, that might be an opportunity, but
I mean, rather than cutting the surplus fund, let's build it towards that 20% level. And I know there's a risk. Okay, the state could come in and say, okay, you guys are too high. Okay, we're not gonna give you some money or something like
they
that.
started that last year or the year before when they asked what our surplus was.
Yeah.
When they gave the ARPA funds out, I think it was, we had to fill out. And that's what they were doing to see how wealthy some of the towns are or aren't. And it's always a risk if you go over their recommended percentage that you could lose funding somewhere.
Yeah.
Last year, the Board of Finance cut some things.
Mhm.
And I don't recall, did they cut capital improvement?
No, they increased it considerably.
Yeah, they increased it because that was the only year we really got an increase in roads.
I mean, it might have been, $1 million the previous year, close to that, but I think it was 960 or something.
But they cut some of our operating
Yes, they
funds
did.
and then put it into capital.
Mhm.
Because we had asked them if they were gonna make cuts to give it back to us, so we could suggest we
Right.
make them a firm, right?
Because I mean, at this year, at last year, rather, it was funded, I think, at 1.5 or 1.6 something million.
Hmm.
I don't know, I don't actually have that number on the sheets. All right, unless anybody's got any other questions or thoughts, I don't know what else to say.
Now, and I'll send you an email about the new equipment.
Let me just make a comment on that financing sheet that the interest. In 2019, approximately, we were paying $175,000 for a truck setup.
Mhm.
In 2022, we paid $225,000. That was a 29% increase in 3 years. In 2024, Todd is telling me we better budget $275,000. That's an additional 22% increase, or 57% over a 5-year term.
I'll give you some updated equipment, and then the 20-ton trailer, we're gonna pick out and pack it, because we painted it, redecked it, over the once a bit, so we'll kick that out another time.
Oh, you're gonna send me
Yeah.
something? Okay.
The total for our budget this year, 1.45 million. And for actual they spent to date is the same. Did they take the money and put it somewhere else? Where,
You're talking about the capital budget?
yeah,
I thought it was over 1.4, but maybe I'm mistaken.
1.451.
Okay. Yeah, maybe that's right.
Where,
And then
where do they take the money? Or where do they put the money? Into a separate fund? Because they couldn't have spent all that money all at once. Can they?
Well, the
you did-
road and bridge projects took 1.08 million.
Look at the bottom number,
Right,
the total.
right. I'm
That's,
looking at.
that's what I'm. What they actually spent to date is the same as what they budgeted.
Which
for
if
the
you
year.
look at the other, the column before that, you can see that they put all the money out for all of those. So I
Yes,
think they've used all the,
We've
They've
expended
used it
everything
all.
already.
yeah,
Is that just an error in the spreadsheet?
I don't know.
it's just kind of funny because it, you know, you look at some of this. This stuff, like all the roads money. You've spent already?
Probably, yeah, with that Rich Sound stuff, yeah.
Mhm. The library windows.
You've
that-
center
that window
repairs,
upgrades? Oh, that was GMS
you center repairs,
for 70,000.
yeah,
We done that?
No,
Huh?
not yet.
yeah, see, so we're,
Done that.
Maybe this is not done correctly.
unless they put the money into another account. And then take money
Well,
out
no,
of
the
it,
money's still there, because if it was actual, it'd be a zero if it was spent.
right,
So it hasn't been spent, because like the youth center repairs are still at 70.
yeah, so that's still the same,
It's still there.
so they haven't, it looks like they haven't spent a bit.
Yeah, road money, we spent quite a bit. I mean, I
Yeah,
know we have about $1 million left, because we're doing 500,000 in crack seal, chip seal in the spring, and then the other 500 was for winter overrun in case we went over budget. That's what we take it from.
I would say this probably isn't accurate. We'll have to see if we
It's just,
can get.
you know,
something
because
else.
if you spent the money. Then
It doesn't
See.
look like any of it's up to it.
it's. Yeah, something's,
Okay, any other questions for Jim? No, Jim, thanks again. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Do you have for my own thinking and planning, do you have any idea whether you're going to forward this budget as presented, or are you gonna make cuts to this budget? No, you don't know.
It would be really hard to say at this
Okay.
point.
Who's up next?
Todd, Mr. Babbitt for Public Works and Transfer Station and Buildings.
Todd, as you're going over yours, can you say what you're doing and what my number is? So I can try to type on you.
So what do we want to start with?
Public Works. Might as well.
Did you get the updated copy in your packet?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yep, so that's a sticky note on it.
Oh, great.
Okay, so, 3201.
Made a copy.
I didn't do that because the sticky note was in the way and I said, well,
Yeah,
if it wasn't there, I would have copied it, punched it and put it in ahead of time.
I made copies of everything and then I didn't even look and I get
I
that.
did, and I said, it's right where I need to see. Let me know when you're all set, Richard.
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, so the regular full-time payroll. Obviously, we had an increase there due to the union contract. My line item for Public Works, there's an increase there because we're gonna be talking about a contract here very shortly.
Mhm.
When is that?
My
Due
contract
May.
expires in May, so we should
Okay.
probably start after we're done with the budget, I would think.
Mhm.
See what else. Longevity obviously went up slightly. Health insurance, obviously, there's an increase and Eric has the note for the 10%. Oh, you want line items, Lisa?
No, just no penalty line item.
Oh, safety training, is that done just every other year?
No, I don't know why he reduced that, because we didn't talk about reducing that.
It looks like
That's-
2021, it was 3025, then 21-22, it was 200, and then it went
Yeah.
back up. So I
Yeah.
wonder if it goes down every,
No, it
No?
shouldn't, because that's what, when they take the Yukon classes, it comes out of there.
okay,
Like the new hire, there'll be a series of Yukon classes, there'll be a trainer we bring in for the forklift training.
okay,
There'll be a lot for the transfer station certification. So I gotta talk to Eric about putting that back at 5,000. That might be just something he inadvertently did, because we didn't talk about it.
okay.
The health insurance, obviously an increase. FICA and the pension. Other purchase supplies, we went up $2,000. And that's, a lot of that is for the clothing allowance that was negotiated with contract for the pants.
Sure,
Because that's where that comes out of. Gasoline, fuels and fluids. We are pretty close
Yeah.
to budget at the 6-month point,
okay,
so we went up. About $16,000, I guess it is.
And gas prices or the gas is going up
Yeah,
by June.
well, we don't
June,
pay,
I think it goes to the total,
we don't pay the tax. so
No,
that
you don't
doesn't-
pay the tax,
But
but
the market itself,
right,
we're still over $3 and we were usually around 250, 260 before. Sometimes, 208 years ago, but we're still up pretty high for our purchase price. And then equipment repairs and purchase, we went up $5,000. Some of that's due to, the backup in capital replacement and the needed repairs for things that we probably would have been cycling out at this point that we're still
Mhm.
using. That was it for changes under public works.
next page, though, there's a second page to that. Snow removal was road repairs,
Yeah, nothing changed
nothing
there.
changed.
It's all the same as last year.
are we gonna save money this year on sand and salt though?
Well,
So
we'll see where we come in. We still got another
I know, we still do,
month and a half, could be, who knows?
Mark comes in like a lion.
It can.
They always say.
All right,
Let's see, so we got, public works, we'll go to waste disposal,
Transfer station.
which is 3204. The first item we have change in there is 5422, which is the Resource Recovery Authority. That's the tipping fees. That's up 20,000. And then we get down to the bulky waste tipping fees. They're up, or going up about 13,000. That's due to Casella taking over and increases in disposal for bulky waste. The fuel for the roll-off truck, we're going up $1,000 there. And we added back in the dumpster replacement. We had taken it out for a number of years, so that's back in there. As an item again this year.
did we cut it out because of the budget last year? Is that what happened?
That's what we required. At one point, there was 0 increase. We had to
Okay.
cut things because wages and things were going up, so we had to cut items out. And
Right, all
that
right,
was something we did.
Okay.
All right, so now we got buildings.
Which one do you want to do first?
Well, I'm gonna try to go in order here. Usually Eric tells us,
the number,
I know.
yeah, the number.
The next one should be then.
1803,
I got 1801, maintenance of town hall, 28 Main Street.
okay.
Yep.
Start with that one, I guess. 1801. The first item is the custodian, that's going up per the union contract. Health insurance. FICA pension. All going up, electricity. We're going up $2,000. You can see where we are currently, we're more than half, and we don't know. Last I talked to Eric, we don't know what the borough rate increase is gonna be for electricity yet.
Right,
You know, they said there's gonna be an increase, but we haven't seen that, what that number is. And then building repairs, we went from 10 to 15. I sent him some updated information, so I think that's gonna go up more. We got the estimates for the fence on the side and out front,
mm-hmm,
and that is around $20,000 for both.
and Eric had talked about that and said that you were looking at chain link fencing for around the back. I don't think we want that by the library. I think we want something that's a little bit more in line with the look of the library rather than chain link. So if we can look at something that's
What
more
about-
upgraded than that.
Are you trying to keep people out or what?
If you go by this
No, I
part
know,
or the
yeah.
drive
yeah.
there, no, we're not trying to keep people out,
So
but
it's
there's
just-
a little bit of a ledge that goes down to
So
the house
you could
below.
Use like maybe a picket fence or even a. You know,
We were looking at kind of wrought iron or something for the front.
Yeah,
Is
that's
that
more
kind of what
expensive
you
than
were
the chain
looking at?
link.
Pardon?
That's more expensive than chain link.
Is that, yeah, I think we want to get something that's gonna,
I mean,
but it's
Upgrade the
just,
look of
it's
the
just to
building.
keep people from falling.
Well, the problem
Correct.
is over here where the house is in the back.
Yeah.
There's a wall and there's about a 5-6 foot drop.
yeah,
Okay,
So the goal is to get rid of these wooden posts because they're all rotten.
Yeah.
And they're starting to break off.
Yeah.
Put that chain link fence along that wall so nobody can fall off of it.
okay,
And then come up the hill and go in front of the granite wall that's on the side of the library, because there's a walkway probably 4 or 5 feet down that goes to their air handling units,
hmm
condensers.
Mhm.
So right now, those posts and chains are stopping somebody from inadvertently just walking and walking.
Sort
off
of.
the
So
edge.
what if over here where it's noticeable, maybe not in the back, but like a split rail or something a little bit.
Trying to get
more-
something that's not a maintenance issue,
Oh,
you know, get away from. the
right,
wood.
you don't want to paint.
We don't wanna paint, we don't wanna be replacing it, so chain link, is probably one of the cheapest ways to go. And I think whatever we do has to be at least 3 foot because.
Yes.
Railing height is 3 foot if you have more
Yeah.
than a 3 foot drop, 30-inch, 36-inch drop, so. You know, we have to go probably 4 foot minimum, we could go down to 4 foot. Which I think is where we are with the chain link now, I have to look at the quote.
Do you mean 6 foot and go down to 4 foot?
No,
You
I
said
think we're
3
at-
foot.
I think we're at 4 foot on the side and we're 6 foot down below because of the elevation change.
You need a 6 foot fence around the drive. Is that what you're saying?
By the house down on the bottom, because then
Gotcha.
we're coming up the hill on an angle and then we can
Yeah.
come up to 4 feet on the top.
You know, I'd rather see like even the rails that we have in front of this old senior center right now. And they're just like a pipe rail. I'd rather see that than chain link. I don't think we want chain link going around that way. I don't think that's gonna enhance the look of the buildings. I know the costs, but if we can look at something else and are you looking at a fence company to do
Yeah,
it?
that's what we did, that's what we quoted.
Okay,
I had 2 come out, I got quotes from one, the second one hasn't gotten a quote back yet,
okay,
because he had COVID, so I would think by the end of this week, middle of next week, we'll have a second price. But, you know, just for that little bit out front was $6,500.
and you're doing chain link out front?
No, it's extruded aluminum picket
Is-
fence.
Okay,
3 foot high, and it goes both sides, just like the pipe and
Right.
chains are now. There's a space by the building so we can get through a little more, or whatever we have to do, push more. You know, you look at that footage, compare it to what you have here, you're probably looking at $20,000 to do that with the same type of fence.
could you send us some images of what the fencing looks like? Did they give you that?
Yeah, I think I have.
Chain
brochure
link
on
fence?
No, not the chain
need-
link.
I
Oh,
need
the other,
extruded.
oh,
On the front,
sorry.
yeah.
It's got like 2.5 to 3 inch spacing on aluminum, it's all aluminum, but it's a brown,
Mhm.
that's what they have. for
Okay.
color.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So, I mean, we have to decide what we want to do, if we want to put something different in here.
Well, I think if we're gonna do it, I think it does need to be maintenance free, but I also think it needs to be more attractive than a chain link fence that's going by the library, a historic building. And, you know, I think we need
Yeah,
to,
I mean, it's a black chain link fence, so I mean, it's not like it's shiny or anything,
Hmm,
you know.
if we could get some other options to choose from. Might be helpful.
So you. You don't want to use like aluminum type railing along that.
No, I mean, I'd be very cautious because whatever we put in there is gonna have to come back where those wooden posts are. And if you get a vehicle that pulls in along that curb and they have an overhang over the curb, and they hit that, they're gonna wipe it right out.
You're right.
You know, where chain link, we can usually fix that ourselves, where extruded aluminum or something like that, you're gonna call somebody to fix it, because there's nothing we can do with it, you know? That's my only concern there, because they all park there, you know, somebody hit a car last week over there, or 2 weeks ago, and they took off and they ended up coming back to the library and they caught them because they had damage, but
You're kidding.
no, I'm not kidding, and they didn't even know they hit the car,
Hmm,
and they had to have the car towed, the guy hit so hard.
you didn't know they hit the car?
Is
No,
the parking right now, I mean, they can park there, and then the only other parking they got is on
they're
that side of the building or in back.
Or in the front, they use the
Others-
front.
or
but
the
a lot of
front,
times
yeah,
after our,
A lot of times the handicap will use that spot.
Yeah,
right
in
spot.
The library. That's why we kind of put it there years ago.
Mhm.
I don't know, we can look at other options, but I'm not sure. They're gonna be an economical option, or,
Right,
you know, something that isn't gonna be susceptible to damage with the vehicles parked in there.
Okay.
You know,
all right,
I see what I can find.
thank you.
All right, so what do we got next? We have
1802,
1800,
Adrian Patchogue.
going the wrong way, I already went through this. Did maintenance and that. That's right. Okay, so
Just thought I forgot.
electricity. which is 1802, but electricity, we went up $800, predicting the increase with the Eversource rates. Heating fuel, we went up $200. This year we're low, but this is a abnormal year too, and the prices are up, so I think that's adequate. Building repairs, we went up $800. We're gonna do some wiring upgrades in there for the lighting.
Are those needed? Is that, why are you deciding to do that? Or is it time or?
I wanted to do it a long time ago, but Mr. Stetson wired that building years ago,
Oh, okay.
and he was adamant that that's the way it needed to be. He expected everybody to enter that building from the road end, and nobody does. The ramp is
Okay.
on the other end, and it encourages everybody to enter from that end.
Sure.
So the switch for the lights is on the other end of the building when you go in on the ramp end of the building. You gotta walk across the whole building in the dark to turn the lights on.
Yeah,
So I wanna put a three-way switch on each side and run the wire.
that's a great idea.
and-
Okay,
And rectify that, and I'm sick of stopping and turning the motion lights off because somebody turns it off, turns it on,
I
and
do
it
it
locks
too.
on. It
right.
stays on all the time, because as soon as they do the switch, they walk out and it locks the motion
Yeah.
detector. So I wanna rectify that, so especially with prices going up, that outside light, we're burning electricity that we.
I agree. Yeah,
So those are the
that's a
things
good
that
idea.
we wanna upgrade and change. I fought with Bill for years, and he was adamant, that's the way it should be, so I didn't wanna change it and upset him. And,
So,
we kind of forgot about it, to be honest with you, but I went there a couple times and I said, I gotta change this.
and when we get upset,
He's passed away now.
oh,
Bill Stetson passed away.
okay.
So what
I
about
was trying to
the,
be respectful when he said, that's
Yeah,
the way it needs to
yeah.
be, and that's the way I did it.
we know that it's gonna happen. We have our flashlights if it's dark and we need to go across and turn on the lights, but I think that'd be helpful.
Yeah.
So question, the door frames on the outside really need painting, and I don't know if the window frames are aluminum or if they
Windows
need
are
painting.
vinyl, so
They're-
they should
okay,
be
they're
right
vinyl.
there.
So, but would that be included in this? Cause we've got to get white paint on those door frames
Yeah, I mean,
before
that's,
they rot.
that's something we'll do. There's not much money for that, but we can probably take it out of there. I know the
Okay.
electrical is about $275, I think it was. I gave Eric the estimate for the wire and his two switches and the wire mold.
Okay,
I haven't priced out yet, so I'd like to.
Good. so you'll do different outside lights that are real sensors and won't be activated by a switch or? what are
Yeah,
you
they're gonna
thinking?
be, a higher quality sensor, it'll be more of a commercial grade light. And
Okay.
then that switch inside will have a lock on it, so we can't turn it off.
It'll be
Okay.
LED.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good.
All right, so maintenance of town highway building 1803. Again, electricity, we went up due to the increase in the Eversource rates. And that was all we changed.
Good.
Okay, then we're on to 1804. That's maintenance of 20 and 22 Sewell Street, so that's the ambulance garage and the old senior center. The only thing we're keeping open there is the building repairs, the ambulance garage. We need to do window replacement. I think we have 3 or 4 windows, so we're gonna buy them this year with the money we have and then finish it up right after July 1st with this money.
Maybe this is a good time to bring that up with the senior center. They're moving out. We're in a new building. And the alternative school will be moving out into this new building. What happens to the existing alternative school?
I
So
think,
when hopefully at some point this will come in front of the board. But I believe by the end of this week, we'll be done with that building. We're gonna go in and sweep out everything. We have a couple of last things to move and we'll be done. So I believe for the Board of Finance meeting next, what's that, the 21st or something like that. They can be told that that building's
mhm,
empty. But I'd like to see the Board of Selectmen authorize that transfer of that building to the Board of Ed so they can start their renovations. We'll also set them to a timeline that they're gonna turn that existing alternative school over to us so we can get rid of it as quick as possible.
Yes, absolutely.
So what their
Is
renovations
going
are gonna
away.
be done, and they're gonna start in that new building in September. Then by September 1st or 30th, I'd like to see that turned over so we can market it and get rid of it.
So meanwhile, will you be having to maintain it? I mean, they will be out of school. Or will we have them maintain it until we
think-
get it sold?
I think they should be maintaining that building
Okay.
until they turn it over to us.
Okay,
And then
That's
would
what I
that
think
we would list that with the
probably, too.
realtor rather quickly, and maybe
Okay.
we start that process of a meeting ahead of time and set it up so that when we get control of that building. We're ready to market it.
And it'd be a town building, so the money goes into the town account, not the school account,
That's,
or what?
well, we own the building, it's under the town of Grizzly, as far as I
Yeah,
know.
okay.
So I would think
And-
that,
And the reason for getting rid of it is because of the maintenance cost of the building, because that's why they,
well, I think it's deferred maintenance. They said the septic system now
Right.
failed. We know the decks fell off the back because they weren't using the second floors. They didn't
Right.
maintain them.
and the roof,
The roof and the boilers on a shoestring, from what I'm hearing, so,
Okay.
and I think it needs an oil tank replacement, so there's a lot of things there that,
it's an
Man.
underground. Well,
no, it's inside.
inside.
You know, I think there's a lot of things that may have been deferred or, you know, were deferred because they didn't need them, you know, like the decks, but, I don't think it's something that, I wouldn't wanna drag that out too long. I'd like to get them to set a timeline of when they can have that building cleaned out and turned over to us. I would think,
Well, they got a building committee, right?
we have a meeting at 5, yeah.
so maybe that's something you could entertain with them is, you know, I don't know, they must have a timeline on the renovations thereabout.
We're gonna hear more about that tonight,
And,
so I will have information for us for next week, yes.
you know. But that would be what I hope anyways, that we can turn that over as quickly as we can.
That'd be great.
Um,
Anything else for you?
so that, there's no changes on that one. I mean, we have some items we left open in case we gotta add something down the road, but.
Okay.
Not intending to add anything at this point. I think we have anything else. I think we're,
That's it.
for buildings, I think I'm done.
Okay,
That's it.
I guess we'll move on to me,
Yours.
the selectmen's budget and legal. If we have time, we can work on contributions before people show up for the 4:15. So Board of Selectmen. Primarily, we have increases due to union contracts.
What number are we?
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, we're on number 1201.
Yeah, yeah. I went right by it too.
I didn't pick up on that when I did it. That's why.
Let's see. I also have a letter that I took from, when we're looking at line item 5120, contractual temp and occasional, that is for, on Board of Selectmen.
Yeah.
That was put in there at one time for a recording secretary. We never were able to find a recording secretary. We've had a request from ordinance committee to have a recording secretary to the tune of $2,500 to come and do their minutes, do their agendas, and also adjust and edit ordinances as necessary. So I don't know if at some point we want to look at raising this amount, because we were planning to use this, I believe, for ordinance, for public health and safety, for economic development. And was there a fourth one that doesn't really truly have a recording secretary? I think Karen Summelrock is doing economic development, but this one we may look at going up on. We haven't really quite made a decision on that. Grant,
Well,
go ahead.
One question, the grant writer is in that line item also.
It is in the
and
next
that-
one, 5120N.
Oh. Yes, I'm sorry. Looking at, yeah. So that one has the grant writer, yeah, okay, so. We have a grant writer,
We don't have a grant writer. That is put in there in case we need to hire somebody to do grant writing.
Yeah, in the past, when we put in for some grants, we used, can't remember his name, the consultant on it, man, the guy that sent some.
Peter Huckins,
Nope.
no?
You know, Peter
Peter,
Testa, is that who
yeah.
you're talking about? Yeah.
Yeah. So we had taken some money out of there in the past to pay him to help us do some things when we were putting some stuff together.
So there was a slight raise in the first selectman line, 1.5%, I think is what it went up at this point. Anything else that's changed? I don't think we really have much else that changed in this. Technology maintenance did go up for additional cyber protection as per our insurance carrier. We needed another wide format printer that is what Mario primarily uses downstairs, down by the assessor's desk in that area. The one item sector went up quite a bit. Seat went up not at all because they've been doing a lot of free fares. And then CCOG went up minimally, so I think that's about it for that budget. All right, where's the legal?
We're looking at 30,000.
32.
32, if you want to get real technical, yes.
And I think most of that is due to rising insurance costs and things like that.
Yeah, workers' comp and things.
Yeah. All right, where's legal?
That's way at the back,
Is that
yeah, somewhere way in the back.
1701.
oh, there it is in the middle, kind of.
Oh, yeah,
1701. Not many changes on this. No changes at all. We're actually doing fairly well. But
probate court one is in.
probate court one is,
And
I am not sure if
I
that
don't think
is
we,
correct
I
yet.
don't think he
It's
has.
still
I don't think he
stated.
has the number
Yeah,
yet.
I don't think he's got it. So we didn't spend a lot on town council, but I talked to Eric about just keeping that number there right now, just as an in case figure until we get some more idea on how the rest of the year is going. All right, so then we're going to contributions. I know that one is in the back.
Yeah.
4103.
What was that number?
4103. Safe Futures has gone up. Eastern Connecticut Conservation District has gone up. We went up some on the Sexual Assault Crisis Center. Of course, we have the amount that's requested by UCFS that we have looked at year after year. That's what their request is. I don't know if we want to talk now about that request or just doing our review, and we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, I mean, because honestly, I didn't see it on here, so I really didn't review it too close.
All right. New London Homeless
Probably should've, but
Hospitality.
I didn't.
Hey,
Yeah, we'll have time to review that. New London Homeless Hospitality Center went up, which I think has been beneficial. I don't know how much people have used that, but
Usually the letters tell you sometimes how many people they
Yeah.
serve.
I didn't actually
And that's what I
probably
look
look at that. I don't know that we've had a lot of people that have gone down there from this area, but possibly.
see, they got,
Yeah, I don't think it's specific for us. One of the things that Fred Marzak is working on. He's been working with other EMDs in Plainfield about establishing a municipal warming shelter up in the high school in Plainfield. So, you know, at that point, we would not be sending people down to New London. We'd be sending them for cold weather, for hot weather, for significant storm issues. We'd be sending them up there.
This is for homeless. though.
It is, but I think it
And-
also,
They,
Let's see, southeastern, what is this one? This is. Backhack, I don't know.
but it's not just a warming center.
right, I understand that,
okay.
yeah. But that
Uh,
is one of the things that I think that has been available to us.
Yeah.
You know, if you look at that third paragraph. of the
And
letter.
the library sent one in, so that's correct, 95,
Right,
and the 2000s for the veterans, that's
Mhm.
right. So that's the same. I
So-
see, I'm sorry,
Okay,
the Little League and the soccer, I didn't see one. So they haven't sent anything in yet.
I don't think I've seen anything.
Yeah, I didn't see that one, but the
And I
others they
guess that's
have.
why he has those shaded at this point. He
Yeah,
doesn't
but
have
the
any
others,
from them.
the library and the Veterans Council have been sent in, so they can be.
Yep.
They're correct.
in the Sexual Assault Crisis Center, in their letter, they said they've served 25 residents of the town of Griswold
Mhm,
at an approximate cost of $13.79 per client.
okay,
So some of them do,
Yeah,
you know,
usually UCF.
UCFS or even.
Yes, they send it in too, normally.
I think it is in theirs. Yeah,
Yeah.
theirs is in there. All right, I think that's it. And now we're waiting for the ambulance meeting at 4:15.
When we look at TVCCA. Do you know if Eric was having a conversation with them about the new senior center and upping the amount? I
We,
think that would be considered in what they're asking for if they're not willing to pay more.
right, we do have a letter for them. Let me write this down. No, I'm thinking about it. We do have a letter for them and we met with Eric and Tina and are requesting that Eugene have a meeting with us to talk about that. Because I think we are in a different scenario now,
Yeah,
so,
I think they're using probably more than they were over here.
right,
And I would just, if they're not willing to pay anymore, then I would like to reflect that somehow
Okay.
here
sure,
so that we see some benefit.
you bet. Any other questions about any of these?
I was just finally got rid of that Legion baseball, which was part of that agreement when we got rid of Grizzly Bears and went to American. There was a period of time,
I see,
5-year period.
okay,
So that's good to see that cleared up. And then Christmas lighting. The price of electricity. I don't know if someone can give us an idea if that needs to go up also.
okay,
We have to pay for all the electricity for the ornaments and
for the
the
stars,
power.
And that,
Power and the
isn't
gazebo.
that the borough?
They split with us. They pay the same
Okay,
amount we
they-
typically do. That's my understanding. So whatever we pay, they also contribute,
Okay.
but.
so
we-
it's
We used to
the,
get it free and then there was some kind of law passed that they can't donate electricity.
oh, okay,
They used to give Little League free power, the fire department free power, but they can't do that anymore, so.
and those are the lights down on the street, on the poles, and then also around the gazebo,
The gazebo snowflakes, we pay for the power there,
right?
so that's usually included with the Christmas lighting, I believe,
Okay,
that extra cost that we saw. But I'm just gonna make a note, maybe we need to go.
sure. And again, that might have to do with whatever we get for rate
Rate
increases from
increases.
JCDPU.
You know, I'm just curious. For, United Community Family Services. They're saying let's just use dental. They said 1,039 people in Griswold. Oh, wait a minute. Visits to 523. Now, I go there, but I have insurance for it. So is the dollar value reflect what they get for the insurance? It'd be I'm just curious
I would
on,
hope that if your insurance paid,
yeah,
that they wouldn't be.
it
include
wouldn't be
in
on
our-
that, yeah. And they stopped doing dental in Griswold.
Yes, everything's in knowledge, I believe. for dental,
Yeah,
right?
everything is in knowledge now.
So any other questions? Do we want to make a motion to pause our meeting, take a break?
You want to recess, you mean?
We have about 20 minutes.
Oh. Okay, yeah, make a motion to go into recess at whatever time.
It's now 3:56.
I'll second
All in favor?
Um,
Aye, motion carries. Okay.
Do you want to
Let's stop
explain
and
how you
get
have just
some-
enough seats at the table? So I don't know if they want to stick somebody in that seat or if somebody wants to.
Yeah, we will need to have,
Okay.
we are gonna fill up all the seats here.
Are we gonna need the contract, you think?
I have a contract.
wasn't-
Did you bring yours?
I wasn't, well, it's on the computer. I was gonna print that thing out.
No, I have one in case we need. I don't know that we're gonna need it.
as long as they can simply say they're gonna honor it and put it in writing.
Well, that's it. I mean, that's the only thing that, and it says it in the contract. So. Okay. That's a big deer in my yard.
Well,
These things are they're getting a lot of acorns this year.
I hunted this year when I could. I didn't have a lot of time, but never saw one in the woods. See them in the yard all the time. but
Yeah.
It's not really fair game for me.
No.
When we were sick with COVID, Christmas Eve. I go till the end of December on my own land hunting now. At 9, come through the yard by the pond, looking at the window, even if I wanted to, I didn't have enough space to do anything. I was so weak from the COVID.
Every day I see one turkey. And that's it. Normally I see 10, 12. This year, I've only seen that one.
Yeah, they travel around, cause I got 35 acres, the neighbor's got 30 acres, and then there's 120 besides that. You know, it's really a pretty big piece for them to go around. I had my ducks all winter until Monday night, something got the last 3 ponds froze, it must have got on the ice, something there. Got 'em. So, yeah, I'm not gonna get any more now. I got them a couple of years ago, somebody gave me some white ducks, and I put them in my pond, and I was feeding them, and I have a campground across the street, so all the people would come down when they were leaving, bring their kids over, grandkids over to see the ducks.
Mhm.
They were writing me cards and leaving them in the mailbox and leaving feed, and I said, no, I said to my wife, I'll get some more ducks, and then the guy that works for me says, hey, I got somebody that's got 9 ducks, and they want to get rid of it, so I took them, I had them all summer. And I was down to 3, and I told my wife, I said, once we get ice on the
Yeah.
pond, that's gonna be, and I went down and broke some ice to make a bigger area, but it doesn't matter, you know. We've been hearing the last couple nights, there's some coyotes up at 201 howling, so you know they're around, you know.
Gotta. It's right out, somewhere right outside the bedroom window, an owl at night,
So we've got owls, I love them.
and this guy wakes you up.
See, I usually don't hear them in the house, my wife hears everything in the house, but my hearing's so bad, I'll go out on the porch at night. And they'll be going back and forth, you know, there's 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And you can hear them chatting.
Heard it this in today. I didn't know if you wanted to add that to the product. You didn't know if you wanted to.
Yeah, a lot of wildlife, foxes.
Oh, well, we can do it.
Yeah, I got a fox running through. And they're not scared.
Now, well, I had one, this is funny, I don't know if you know where Cook Hill and Sheldon Road are.
Yeah.
So Sheldon Road with a recreation.
I'm sorry.
Where the recreation.
Do have a
Yeah.
packet somewhere.
Across the street is the state nursery,
Yes.
and it's all sand. And there was a fox in there, and she had 5 or 6. And, you know, in the neighborhood, we all lived with her, the friend fox.
Mhm.
But she would be 3 feet from me, she'd follow me in the garage.
Oh, so,
So I used to, you know, you come across her walking. And she used to go down Sheldon Road. And she would watch for cars, and then she'd cross the bridge and get onto Crossroads, to connect to Cook Hill.
mhm.
And she'd go on the lawn all the way up Crossroads, and then she'd stay on the shoulder of the road, come all the way up Cook Hill. She'd be at our house once a week.
Hmm.
And she would, I just called it.
That's a big territory then.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I would go out to my town truck in the morning, it's dark, and I'd hear a racket, and I'd look, there she was.
Hmm.
And I'd go into the garage to get something. Boundary pin locator or something, I'm gonna bring in the news and find her. Wasn't afraid of anything.
Hmm.
I think somebody must have finally got her, they must have had chickens or something, and she was cleaning them out, but. I had, for years, I had a gray fox living in the ledge up in the back, because top of my property is like 20-foot sheer ledge.
Mm.
And there's all holes in it, and at the bottom, there's a bunch of rock that fell over the years, so there's all kinds of cavities. And I used to watch that gray fox every year when I was hunting in the neighborhood. What the farm next to me, and he started trapping, and he got it.
Now, gray fox, I thought they were endangered,
And I
either
thought-
endangered or they're.
I thought they were protected, but if you trap them and you get them and they're injured enough, you can kill them. You're supposed to get a special fur tag for them. Well, last I knew.
Mm.
I haven't trapped in 20 years, but. It used to be worth doing it, you know, for the pelts, but now they don't pay anything. We used to trap, with Mr. Urechko, we used to trap beavers with him. We used to get $30-40 for a beaver pelt.
Well, my neighbor in Franklin. He trapped. And I had this beaver dam that was constantly rebuilt, constantly. So I had him go in and,
Hello, sir.
you know,
Come on in. Maybe they'll choose. Take you in.
Now, if you get, no, sir, $5 or $10 for them, you're lucky.
Hey,
how are you?
good, how are you?
I've had better days.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Can we actually do him now?
That's not part of our agenda. I mean,
Yes,
who
it
we're
is.
doing
He's
what.
after the Ambulance.
And he's after the.
Oh, are they?
I know, he's
Is
after
it part of
the
the agenda?
ambulance.
Yeah, yeah.
We can, and it's not, you don't have it in order here.
Where's my agenda?
Here.
One thought,
Going.
No, you can do it,
I'd get here for the ambulance and see
We
what they
can-
have to say.
we can do it now.
So
That's what we're saying. It's not part of the agenda.
Right,
No, they
No.
were just given orders for convenience, but he is.
Right.
his
but we
department is
can,
on
we can
that
do
schedule.
him now.
Yes.
Okay, well, we can do that. You want to come out
I
of
don't like the way
recess?
this sounds yet.
Well, it gets you out of here. We might get out of here sooner.
No, I won't.
Should we, are you ready to do
You
your
absolutely
budget?
can. I
Okay,
mean,
let's,
it's nothing, Stephen was gonna be here. So, he was just gonna kind of, because I want to introduce you to Steve Merchant the
Right.
third. Because he's gonna be taking over in a couple of years, because I've already said I'm not gonna be seeking reelection in 2
Okay.
years. So he just was going to attend this because of that
Maybe we should
reason.
wait for him then, so
Okay,
I guess if you're gonna learn the process, you should be here.
That's, I just want him to start going through this because he's only got 2 years to go through it. And then he
it's not
tag
that
your,
hard, right?
that's what I tell him, tag you're it.
There we go.
I can call him, see if he can get down early.
No,
but
that's
the,
your
but the
fine.
membership has to vote. So they might vote you in.
No, they won't. I won't take it. I'm sorry. And Todd can vouch for this. You get to a point where you finally just say, you know what, it's time.
You know when you've had enough.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, it's tough some days. It really is.
Oh, sure.
So I'm kind of out of commission now until next week.
No, I did not know.
I did something, and they don't even know what I did, but I did something at a fire in Montville the other day. In which causes me to limp pretty badly at times, and it feels like my knee is gonna just give out.
I,
Hold your
So,
meniscus or something.
well, they think it could be a meniscus, but they said it's not something that appears to be an operation right now. So I'm already happy about that. So I just gotta take it easy for a week and walking along it, all of a sudden you kind of double over thinking that you're gonna fall down.
Mm,
That's
Mm.
not what it is, yeah. I'm just saying. That's out for the second time now, he has to have a knee replacement.
I've had this knee replaced. I'm not doing that's one knee replacement in a lifetime's enough.
How long did it take you to recover?
From my knee, I was back to work in 3 months.
That's a long time. He's younger than you though. No offense.
They,
Well, you can't be offended that somebody's younger. What are you gonna do?
hey, it's okay.
It's the way it goes.
Now I talked to a guy who's John. I talked to John the other day, and that was what he said. It took him 3 months to get going.
Come right on in. They're waiting for you. We're good.
Hi,
Hi,
Donna.
good to see you, Donna. Nice to
Hey,
meet you.
Hey,
Dr.
What it is. Hi, how you doing?
Hi, Danny, Kevin Friday. Nice to meet you in person, pleasure.
Yeah.
How you doing, Kevin Friday?
Hi, Rich Matter.
Pleasure.
Well, how are you?
Hey,
Sorry. Can I get anybody water or anything? Hey, how you doing, Kevin Friday?
How are you?
Pleasure. How you doing, Kevin Friday? Pleasure.
Babbitt, third selectman.
How are you? See, I get to
You
say.
can sit up at the table. There's room at the table here. There's room at the table here.
One tape, on the
We're
table.
gonna put our recording back on. If you're okay. No recording of our meetings. Okay, all right.
We just gotta.
What's that?
We did avoid the-
That's a good way to do it.
And my partner.
All right, gentlemen, do we have a motion to go back into session?
Make a motion to go back into session.
I'll second it at 4:08.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. All right. We're back in session and we are meeting now with American Ambulance with Hartford Healthcare, and we have in the meeting joining us Donna Handley. And do you want to describe your role and?
Certainly. So my name is Donna Hanley. I am the president of Bacchus and Wyndham Hospitals and president of the East Region. So I'm responsible for all the communities that fall within our region where we're providing care in the community. And under the terms of our agreement and acquisition of American Ambulance, I'll become the president of American Ambulance.
Okay.
I'm a nurse by training.
We'll
I'm
just go around.
Kevin Ferrati. I'm the System Director of EMS for Hartford Healthcare. Yeah, so 28 years in the field and volunteer fire chief, volunteer EMS chief. We also oversee and operate Hunter's ambulance out of the greater Route 9 corridor. Obviously our Wyndham Hospital paramedic team and Charlotte Hungerford paramedic team and Lifestar.
I'm Kyle McLean. I am an emergency physician and I'm the medical control physician and have been since I think 2004, overseeing Griswold as well and all the EMS services. And I'm proud to say I'm going to continue on for the foreseeable future if Don will have me. So, so very much involved in all the oversight of American and with medical control, I'm the de facto medical director of
Yeah.
like 27 services, 20 services now, and will remain involved in American and in the future. So
Tom Holowati, Fire Chief, Gristle Fire. Easy enough. Jeffrey Way, I am the EMS coordinator for Bacchus Hospital, and I've been a paramedic in this area for the last 20 years.
Okay, great.
You all know me. Do you need me to go on record? Greg Allard, Vice President with American Ambulance, been there for 30, almost 31 years.
Okay, great. And I think you met all of us. I'm Dana Bennett, the first selectman, Richard Matters and Todd Babbitt, selectman. So
wonderful.
thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you coming to talk to all of us. And we have, we just kind of wanted to ask some more questions, I guess. One of the first questions I wanted to ask is, how does it benefit Hartford Healthcare for you to take over American Ambulance?
So we actually met with Michael Eliano. We were having some wanting to work more closely in American, the ambulance transfers out of the hospital, primarily how we can move patients out. It was actually during a conversation with Michael that he shared that he'd been approached by some outside, national companies and a private equity firm. And although he wasn't interested in selling the company at that time, he reconsidered after our conversation. So the benefit for us is we are caring for the same patients in the community as American Ambulance, and we've had a very close relationship. We have a national shortage of many healthcare workers, but paramedics are really a pain point for us. So we have our alignment and acquiring allows us really to invest, to continue the company. The company will be left really in its entirety, in its current structure. Michael will lead the company, and then American Ambulance will be a subsidiary of Hartford Healthcare EMS. So we will remain in the region. And for me, it's a better alignment for how we provide care in the community. Because of our size and scope, we'll be looking at investing in the paramedics. We are also acquiring the paramedic school, ABES, the American Professional Educational Services. Every time I say APES, it's like, because it's such a good program, but for us, it's investing in the growth of our paramedics, keeping them, we've done market compensation analyses for paramedics. We need to do some salary adjustments so that we can maintain and retain the paramedics that are at American, and then continue to grow. So for us, our vision in our healthcare system is around the coordination, personalized and coordinated care for patients. So it's our intent to, by acquiring the ambulance, that we'll be able to do that better for our patients. Now, we honor and every PSA, every agreement will remain intact. So the attestation that we've asked to be signed is really an acknowledgement of our commitment to doing that. And of course, once the transaction is completed, if there are elements you want to change, obviously, we would be open to making sure that your needs are being met. So I think that's really the value for us.
Okay,
Patient care.
very good.
Yeah, I was just gonna say really quick, it's just, because Hunter's Ambulance, I think we mentioned this on the call too, is that
Right.
Hunter's Ambulance was very much set up the exact same way. Family owned and operated for decades. And, really, we took that legacy, we took all the best practices, and then we were able to merge them with the best practices of our health system. So what happened is we truly got to a best practice model that we could then incorporate into the pre-hospital world. And whereas right now we have great medical direction, great medical control, interaction with the hospital, you will have embedded medical doctors embedded into the operations of day to day. So there's a lot of clinical oversight, clinical quality metrics that we put into play that we did with Hunters and drastically elevated the service. And then really we're able to take the investment strategies that we're talking about around technology and innovation and really elevated the pre-hospital care from the moment 911 is called all the way through when, your citizens have to go back home. And, we want that oversight to make sure that every step of the way there's quality involved.
I'll just tack on to that, if we look at what the legislature has asked of us, across the state is what does EMS need? This is a national problem. It's ever since before COVID and definitely during COVID, everyone's down 25-30%. And how do we retain people? How do we, basically you can throw money at people, but it's also the fact of wellness, EMS professionals, EMTs and paramedics are going from one 24-hour shift to a 36-hour shift to a 12-hour shift to a 24-hour shift. And 7,000 people right now in the state are doing the work of the 21,000 licensed people that the rest of them are not working. And they're overworked, they're burned out. And American, was just like everyone, not throwing stones at anybody, struggling like everyone else was. And the benefit to me as the medical control is, I love the relationship with American and love being there. And what I really would love to see is anything we can do to stabilize them. And that's what, and it's not just them, it's the whole, this is the one in our backyard versus the one in someone else's backyard. So when we actually went out to Michael and said, we see people bleeding off, we see the shifts not, being filled, like what can we do to help? This was his idea to actually initiate this conversation, saying like, we do need a bigger bucket and help stabilizing. So, to me, it's like an answer to prayer because, they're the company that I've loved working with and want to continue to work with and just to see an infusion of stability. In a time where it's nothing on them, it's just on
It's just
the world.
some of it is scale.
So as a medical control person, I'm responsible for setting the standard of care in this region, in this town, and it's not going to change. 911 is the same. Medical control is the same. We're just going to help stabilize it and keep it staffed and have it, be what you expect it to be now.
Sure.
Great. Anything to add?
No, it's all well said.
Questions?
I have some.
Please.
So you said you're gonna continue to honor the contracts,
Yes,
which was one of my bigger questions, because obviously we have a situation that has helped us out
yes.
from where we were years ago. So operationally, I guess is one of my questions. Currently, it's been pretty good practice with American Ambulance, where obviously we house an ambulance right next door here. But a lot of times we respond to a call, we have multiple calls at the same time in town. It's been pretty common where this ambulance will go to the scene, we ask for a paramedic, the paramedic gets to the scene, and we have the paramedic transport and leave the ambulance in town. That's a key thing, I think, for Griswold. Years ago, when we had our own ambulance in town, we had a lot of problems filling crews, and I start to see that now with the surrounding towns.
Right, yeah.
They bailed us out for years. And, I think that's something where if we can leave that in town with the multiple calls and with the surrounding towns that were are now in the situation that we were in years ago. I understand that, but that's one big benefit, I think, to us here is if we can leave that primary response vehicle here and transport with another vehicle, it's a big benefit.
Yeah, I don't see anything changing with any of that at all. So, yeah.
The other thing, and this is going back a number of years, when we met with American Ambulance, there were some things we talked about. One was getting us certified as a heart safe community, which we did. The other one was them potentially investing by building a building in Griswold. And I don't know if you can speak on that at all. If
I
there's
saw the
any
sign back
future-
there when I.
Well,
That's the building they allow
That's
us
the
to be in.
building where our ambulance
Okay.
was. And I believe we still offer that building at no fee.
Correct.
But there was something, that we talked about down the road, and actually, when I was in the first selectman seat. Michael had come in and we talked about a couple of properties here in town, up by the school.
Yeah.
And potentially building a building, but it didn't move
go-
forward at that point. So I just don't know if you have any plans for an investment in the community to house more than one unit here. There was discussion about putting medics there that could respond north of here. At the time, I don't know. I'm just looking to see if you have some kind of a master plan.
So at this point, that hasn't been part of our conversation, so, but, and we're very open as, we eventually come together and are
Yeah.
working together to do that needs assessment. There are 29 ambulance licenses, there are 20 ambulances currently. Our plan over the next 5 years is to replace what needs to be replaced and add the 9 ambulances that we have licenses for, so that we have more resources for the community. We're certainly willing to consider that, but that is just, it's the first I'm hearing of it.
Yeah, no.
Nothing's
I mean, I'm throwing it out
nothing's
there
been
because we
officially
did discuss
signed.
it years ago.
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
So in the rumor mill that goes around, I've heard requests, like people will call me and like Chief Grenier, like, are you guys gonna put an intercept vehicle in the Plainfield E? Because that would be great, because it would help me, like, almost like it was something he
Yeah.
wanted, and I said, I don't wanna overpromise, but also like, we are committed to maintaining the things we have and making sure we have the ambulances and the
Yeah.
crews and we can respond, because we appreciate right now the shortages of
Right.
vehicles and people that have vehicles, people that run them, and once we have that, we'll move together in the future, like, the sky could be the limit in the future, but the promise now is that we're not gonna go down a pathway like that and not do the things we promised, which was to make sure we stabilize everything that is currently in play. But do I have fantasies about things like that? Yeah, sure. I mean, like, we could grow together.
Anybody in the medical field, we all know early intervention is the best thing. If we can have a
Absolutely.
medic in town, it's a big benefit to
Yeah.
the taxpayer.
Absolutely.
I love hearing that you guys are a heart safe community, because that's a big
Yeah.
push for our community education outreach and all those things that those are easy, right? Though the community outreach is easy to roll out, whether it's Narcan, Stop the
Right.
Bleed. And we have system-wide campaigns around that I know Damien and his team at the education services are already working on and already do. So it's enhancing that.
And we actually did a program, where we certified any employees that wanted to be
That's
in
great.
CPR AED. And
yeah, we did.
you folks
Yeah.
gave us a heck
And
of a.
actually, I was talking with Tina, the senior center director, today in a meeting earlier, and they have a bunch of new staff, so we're gonna do another CPR
Okay.
class for all of them and a stop and bleed program as well, so.
Wonderful.
So,
I
you
mean, I
know,
don't believe any of that will stop. If anything, it's probably gonna be bolstered.
Right.
Yeah.
I would agree.
Wholeheartedly.
They have that team that's behind them. That's what we're looking forward to, is having that opportunity to utilize the resources that they have at their disposal that we didn't necessarily have at ours, so.
So it looks like we might expand on what we were doing, if anything.
Yeah,
Correct.
I would say so, yeah.
About the APE school too, it's not just EMTs and paramedics, it's also phlebotomists, ECG techs.
Yep,
things
I've
like
seen
that.
some of their
Yeah.
offerings that they had. And
Yeah,
And we will plan to grow that. Yeah, there's such a need in the community for that training. It's a pipeline for us, not just in the
Mhm.
hospitals, but offices, medical offices and ambulatory health centers.
Jeff, I'm sorry, I didn't give you a chance to speak.
It's okay.
Do you have anything to add?
I just, through this whole thing, I've kind of, I've thought about it as somebody who's had the pleasure of working as an American paramedic over the years, and somebody who's worked at Backus Hospital in a few different capacities, and these two organizations becoming, one organization just seems like kind of a natural merging to me, and it seems like, we've been great community partners for years and years, and it just seems like the natural way of things. So I'm pretty excited about that. I'm pretty excited about the ability to kind of really even improve the quality, never mind just, keeping it where it's at, but improve the quality of the patient care that we provide the community. So I'm excited about that.
One of the things that we discovered in our early due diligence was that, I just want to speak in for a company there was a family business for 50 years, that something that was really important to Michael and to the leadership team at American was staff, the people that rely on them for their livelihood, and our commitment to everybody having a job. And making sure that people's lives weren't disrupted and that culturally, our employees really matter. So I think that's why that's part of why this is working. It really is going extremely well. Mm.
And one of the other rumor mills was that all the vehicles would be used to move people throughout Hartford Healthcare, leaving the community without 911 service. And that's exactly what this commitment is these 911 contracts come first. And we're gonna stabilize what's here. So, so if you hear that rumor, that's not at all.
Yeah, have you heard other rumors? Because we now have this, we have this agreement. Any rumors we hear, we share with each other so we can dispel them.
Right. Questions? No? Any other questions?
Chief?
No, I think I'm good for now. I don't know.
So everything's gonna continue the same. PSA is gonna stay the way it
Correct.
is. The contract is gonna stay as the way it is,
Yes.
and nothing's gonna change.
Correct.
And we're gonna backfill when we can.
Mhm.
I understand that, and we're just talking about shortages, so, again, we'll take what we can get at sometimes. But like Todd said, there are times where we're running a lot of calls, all of a sudden it just,
Sure.
Jewett City's got one, we get one out in Griswold, then Jewett City gets another one behind it, and you're just, we don't wanna see that drag. If you don't have an ambulance available, there's mutual aid, and I would much rather call for mutual aid sooner than later.
Mutual aid still exists.
Absolutely.
The big thing is just if American had 3 more crews available, what would that look like?
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's somebody that's short on a day, and that's where if we can help with recruitment, retention, market adjustment, and with the pockets that we have to kind of start, but also whatever we can do as a large organization to help give you 3 more ambulances a shift. And then mutual aid's less, but mutual aid still exists and has to, and always will.
Right.
Yeah.
Dispatch is gonna stay the same. We've had days when I've gotten calls from physicians at the hospital where American was out and I was able to call Kevin or my counterpart, who was our executive sponsor. He was a paramedic early in his career. And we were able to get help in our region because American Ambulance was, all of their crews were,
Flat out.
busy taking care of patients flat out. So that's one of the advantages of this, that as part of a larger system of care, even though it's local and we stay local, we have backups.
Yeah, it's economies of scale, right? We keep on talking about that from education and training perspective. Right now, American is now part of a larger consortium of education network, right? We have oversight or management of 6 paramedic programs statewide, right? We have, dozens and dozens of EMT classes. We capitalize on what, American does with their recruit program, Earn While You Learn, right? Which brings in EMTs from the day one, teaches the culture you want them to be in, gets them to be an EMT a lot faster than normal. Those are the programs that we're just going to keep growing. From a resource perspective, exactly what Donna says. The nice thing about having multiple commercial entities that we operate, that we can a lot better and a lot more efficiently move resources around. So 911s are always and will always be the priority, right? And then from the second side of it is the hospitals are the second priority, right? So, and we're able to now help with that a lot more. And it's a lot easier when you operate things on your own. You can make those decisions.
And prioritize.
And
I mean,
definitely prioritize.
we do that every day.
Yeah.
So Greg, we heard him say training will be tapping into some of his graduates too, right?
Absolutely.
I'm happy with that.
You're already working, Kevin, on the recruitment with your career fair. And
Yeah, exactly. They're coming up
education
a couple
fair.
weeks. We do, Harvard Healthcare does more education for first responders than any other health system in the state, bar none. And obviously Greg oversees the big EMS convention, so that collaboration is really what we maximize on. Jeff and Dr. McLean do a great critical care program through LifeStar, still going on, still going to enhance it. So, and what I love because it brings me back to my ties in the Northwest corner of Connecticut, is working with each of you, right? We want to know what's going on in Griswold, right? We want to know how to support it. We want to know what the community events are that we can support. And then from the education side, we're huge public health advocates. We have guys that are ingrained and do nothing but how do I outreach into the community and get stop the bleed CPR, things like that. And that's all they do every single day.
Great,
So
that's excellent.
yeah, so,
Anything else? Thank you all for coming in. It was really
Oh.
great to meet everybody and see you face to face, and I think it just makes all of us more comfortable going into this and being able to move forward.
We appreciate you inviting us in. Relationships really matter. So getting to know each other and face to face. You already knew Greg. I know you knew Jeff, but you know, we're here. for you.
Mhm. It's great.
I'm from Bridgeland, so I want the best for Bridgeland.
Oh.
Oh.
Okay. That's good.
So, you live here now.
No, my family.
Your family, so I was saying,
Uh,
Kelly and the
I-
boys.
I lived here for the first 20 some odd years of my life.
Great. That's great.
Well, good. Well,
Well, thank you.
welcome to Griswold, and
Thank you.
we look forward to having your services here.
That's great.
I'm
Thank
sure
you
we'll be
so
in touch,
much.
and I've got all the information I need to get it signed and sent, so.
Okay,
Awesome.
perfect. Thank you so
Excellent.
much. It was
Thank
great
you
to
very
meet you. Thank you.
What is the timeline at this point?
Oh, yeah, no.
So
That's all I have to say, those four little letters.
so we have, you know, the obligation for us by OEMS and GPH is that for all the municipalities that we had, that American Ambulance had agreements with, that we had the chief executive of the municipality, in this case, it would be you, Dana, to sign the attestation form, which really acknowledges that our CEO of Harvard Healthcare will sign that we agreed, you know, it's a change of control form, that we agreed to maintain exactly what you just asked about, the current level of service and everything that's in the agreement. That has to go with our change of ownership application. So once that's done, it's a 45 to 60 day before we get approval. And then the transaction will happen pretty soon after that.
About 3 months generally is what happened with.
From
when
your
we-
lips to God.
Hunter's ambulance, it took a couple months longer just because we were also on the tail end of the pandemic, right? And people worked slower, I guess, in the pandemic. We unfortunately didn't have that option. But yeah, it generally, it's a 45 to 68, another 30 plus that, so definitely this spring. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if knocking on glass.
Yeah. I noticed that as I did.
I think for, and I mean, Michael's been driving this, that it's difficult for the organization and for the staff, even though we've met frequently. Michael invited me to be with him and his leadership team when he informed his, you know, his management group and all of his employees. We're going to be present there, and, you know, we're starting some of the work to really, you know, become one, you know, organization, but so I think that the difficulty is everybody just waiting for it to happen.
Yeah.
Not for the other shoe to drop, even though the other shoe isn't gonna drop. You know, we'll be, you know, changing some of the branding. We'll always be American Ambulance, but we'll add co-branding on the ambulances. But everything else will be slow and, you know, only for what's in the best interest of the organization.
100%.
Yeah.
For you all, it'll really be business as
You
usual.
shouldn't-
Okay.
All
Well,
right.
thank you so much.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate your
Very
time.
nice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Are you looking tomorrow?
No,
Actually,
I know they're.
Thursday. But you taking on me and screwed it up.
Again?
yeah, the other one this time.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm not doing it.
Oh, thank you very much. You bet. Yes, you're welcome. I'm gonna grab one of my cards.
Well, you're probably all frozen.
Nice to meet you.
Oh, I do.
Franklin?
Oh, good to be.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
You know, they reopened.
Did you hear what they did?
I tried.
Yes.
I still live very close. I'm not.
I as well.
Oh, great. And-
Yeah, so-
Once we're done, we
Feel
can
different.
talk strategically.
Once a member. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. How long have you been out here? All right.
Yeah, I was just talking. I had never looked at
I guess
them.
it's taken more than something.
You know, they do quarterly reports. I haven't
I
seen them,
put my
you know,
name
little
on
bit
it.
for years to ask. I know, you know, we're in meetings a lot. and we'll talk to people about different
Yeah, I think we take.
reports, so.
Yeah.
it'll be interesting.
And what I like to do is find anyone in communication transparency is like cornerstone, right? And so what we like to do was from that started with the chief.
Mine's-
So that you wanted to visit, we meet quarterly, and just review the reports of person. And then I'll weigh it out, see if there's questions, and then because we're gonna have.
Remember when I do this, you gotta close this. Right.
Over.
That's what my younger brother Jason. Yeah, so, who actually was Gary.
So,
Yeah.
so.
Michael.
And every quarter we get go out and say. And more you keep. And they see it because they see the turnaround response time.
Yeah, you still attend the elevator.
But I think the pay will-
Yes, that was from not that long ago. Yeah, do that. Stephen and I said, you know, because he was one of his friends or whatever. So I mean, you're not close to 20. I don't think it's something that years. And that's what they said. His brother Rich worked for us for a while as well. So it's-
Do you think? Best practice.
Doing well.
Oh, wholehearted.
Back in politics.
Just
Just wanted to get right back into the picture.
Transfer center, we learned from that.
Go away. See, it does.
That's wholeheartely what we're
Thank
gonna.
you.
That didn't start with your meeting today, so.
Takes a while.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's certainly a pleasure. Thank you very much. My budget meeting, so-
Okay. Very nice to meet you. Thank you for coming. Right.
I
Okay.
just went back and, you know, I don't think I like. it.
Well, that's good. You like all those lines.
Yeah.
You love what you do.
Yeah, yeah, that helps a lot.
This is nice one near and dear to my heart too, so.
Good.
Yeah.
If they told me I won't.
So how long have you been?
I've been 23 years in back and I've been back in control since 2004.
A month after I had the surgery.
I did over Dr. Kreitz and then, yeah, he was before.
Those are done.
2004 was Kreitz and I've been ever since. Yeah.
How's that? Looking forward to seeing it.
Stability. Yeah, absolutely.
So very good, very good. Getting the way to budget me.
But she.
Well, maybe that's what we got. Yeah, Tom will present. them.
So there's 12 people.
Learn, because apparently Tom doesn't want to do it. Hard to believe, right? They may have to. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Alright, guys.
Thank you. Hey, I am. I'm older than you think. Look at this, it's all great.
Thank you.
Good to see you again. I'll get you those reports tomorrow.
Sounds great. Excellent. Thank you. All right.
Oh, should be here. For 4:45, you got a few minutes.
I'm 4:35.
4:45.
Okay, are we-
So. How do we feel about the
We're on
going forward?
the recording here, so. I've had my questions answered, I think. As
And I
far
think-
as this goes.
I think I did. I mean, I had questions, we brought it up the last time.
I do think that when pursuing an additional ambulance in the garage, that opens up the contract to more discussion possibly,
Well,
so
not if they're housing a medic here to respond to surrounding towns,
possibly, yeah.
and
That's
that
a
was
good
their
point.
goal. It wasn't
Mhm.
dedicated just for us, it was to respond to the surrounding.
Sure.
towns.
Closer to than getting it from
More early,
Norwich.
more early, or quicker intervention than coming on all. The surrounding towns.
Mhm.
But, I think that we offered them this building over here, but the intent was at some point they were gonna invest in the community and try to build something. Not necessarily stay in that building forever. We've done quite a bit there. We re-roughed it. Now we're putting windows in. We repaired the heating system with an hot
Mhm.
water heater in, so we've spent
Yeah, we just spent $700 some on the building for the heating.
Yeah, and prior to that, we
Mhm.
spent, money on it, but it is our building.
Mhm. Come on in. Hello.
And Bennett, Steve
I think I
Merchant,
met
third,
Steve before. Hi,
Nice
good
to
to
meet
see
you.
you.
second selection.
Richard Matters.
The third.
So thank you for coming in. It's good to have you with us and
So, like I said before, I'm introducing Steve now to go to these type of meetings because in another couple of years, my plan is not to be there anymore, to
Okay.
kind of turn it over, and he's the next guy in line to
good.
succeed the fire department in moving it forward, so it's a good learning experience for him.
Yeah, excellent. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
So do you want to review your budget with us? Do you have your budget
I have it.
there? Okay.
So, what we did, when I started looking at it and talking with Eric,
You guys got it?
you guys got a copy?
2201.
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
just looking at.
I didn't want to jump it up high. Let's face it, we all can, but we're also realizing that the electricity is going up,
Yes.
heat is going up, so propane is going up. So what we did was, or what I done was, I still increased the budget by 2%. But I moved some things around, so you'll see like, equipment, purchase. Instead of going with the $30,000 like we did in previous years, moving that down a little bit. To kind of make up that difference for the electricity, for the propane. While still being able to maintain everything that we need to do. I kind of just, but again, it's just a basic 2% increase, and that was kind of how I felt that we should be able to do that, is just moving some things around to make it so it's only a 2% increase.
Okay.
I would like to see if we can up retention and recruitment. I don't have the number of checks that we gave out this year, but we have 20 members and we've got 3 new people who are very active right now. And if that continues, that means more retention recruitment for next year. So I'd like to see us try to give, it's raising it another $5,000. The good news is when it came to the OSHA physicals and testing, we're gonna leave it at the 8,000. Even though we are losing position 1. Position 1, who was our supplier for physicals, is no longer doing physicals. We have to go back to Concentra. We have many problems before with Concentra. That's why we had left them. But we had a meeting, both myself and Chief D'Amico, did a meeting with them, a Zoom meeting, last week. And they assured us that they are not going to be raising prices. They're going to leave them the same as position 1. Only time will tell. The problem, one of the big things why we left Concentra a number of years ago was because we had volunteers. And again, they had volunteers waiting as much as 4 hours to get a complete physical. So, and I told them right on the meeting the other day, that was unacceptable and they have to do better. They're already trying to get us on board. I just have to onboard all our members as they become due for physicals. So we can start sending them there. Because the worst of it was, they stopped physicals on the 20th of January. And they gave us literally about 10 days and said, oh, by the way, we're not doing this anymore.
Great.
But they did turn over a few of the people, and I shouldn't say a lot, a few of the people from position 1 actually did the move to Concentra. So that is already a good start.
Where is Concentra? Is it in Norwich?
Yeah, it's in Norwich.
Okay.
In the industrial park.
All right.
No, they moved.
No, they moved, they're over by, where it used to be shoes, used to be a
really?
shoes place in there.
Yeah.
Around the
Sure.
corner.
By a sound.
Yeah, yep. The problem is position 1, we could go there as late as 4 or 5 o'clock. We could go there on a Saturday. Concentra's
Nice.
only open Monday to Friday.
Okay. Any
But we're gonna
questions
work it
from
out.
anybody?
Pardon me?
Any questions? About the budget?
Have you ever thought of a retirement program of some type?
Yeah, we did that years ago.
you?
That's what actually started this.
His father and I were. His father was the town chief over both departments. We pursued this. And at the time, the life members could buy into the program.
Mhm.
And Jewett City had so many life members buying into the program, we couldn't get a fund big enough to get it started.
Yeah, that,
And, you know, that's what kind of put it behind us. We had, a couple of different people come in and talk to us about it.
Mhm.
How to get it started. And at that point, we determined that we'd never get it off the ground, so we determined if we could set up a program like this, we could give people money and let them invest it on their own.
Mhm.
That the best we would be able to do at that point.
Yeah, 'cause I think people were more interested in having the money up front rather than
And
somewhere down the line.
well,
right?
we also looked at the tax incentive. When we got into the tax incentive, which is a state statute. You can
yes,
do,
you can do, yeah.
When we looked at the geographical areas of Griswold and Jewett City, a lot of Jewett City.
Come on in,
volunteers
come on in.
rented,
You can sit at the
so there
end,
wasn't a
yeah.
benefit to them like there was in the Griswold. farm.
Mm.
So we walked away from that too, because it wasn't apples for apples.
Right. Okay.
That was a number of years ago, we did that, I mean, it maybe could be revisited, but.
Well, you didn't do the life members, I guess you could possibly fund it.
Yeah.
You know, because that's another,
Some of your active
another
life, that's the
where
problem.
you can retain people because you have a retirement
And then you
fund.
could, and back then, excuse me, when we did this, when we started looking at that. You could only buy back so much time. So you had people putting in already 20 years of service who could only buy back 10 years. I think that was the max back then.
I think 10 was the max, it was pretty pricey.
You know, and then, right, and then. What do you, well, I've already put in, and then you still had to put in another 10 or 15 years. It just, people couldn't do it. They
So-
just saw it and there was no way that the older members. Just didn't want to do that. They didn't want to have to spend, I've already put in 25 years, I gotta put in another 15. So.
Any other questions? Comments? Steve, did you have anything to add?
I don't, I mean,
Okay,
Tommy's been very forthright with the budget and I mean, it's broken down very well, I think. I think, again, what's on the paper speaks for itself. I think
Okay.
it's-
very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Oh, boy.
It's not a hot seat.
No, that's the hot one, I took a cool one.
You want to take the cool one? Okay, take that.
Thanks for coming in. All right, next we have Chief D'Amico, Jewett City Fire Department.
How long do you need?
How you doing?
Wow, the thing is, I started to.
Yeah, okay. So the account numbers, you're gonna be looking at 5515, and then 55178, and then 5504,
Okay,
and then 04A. Those are the three that we gave us.
all right.
I assume you have my budget, correct?
We have it in our, is this it?
That's it.
Okay,
Should be about the same like last year, you try to keep everything about the same the best you can.
all right.
This year's budget, just to give you a little history. Let me give you a little history about the department. We have 37 members active, 20 packed, which is firefighter one.
Right.
One going to fire one now. 8 cadets, 8 fire police, and then 8 of those firefighters are EMTs also. So that's 37 total, pretty much active.
Mhm.
Couple here and there, but most of them are pretty much active when fires and car accidents show up.
Mhm.
The big stuff, the medicals and the medicals.
Mhm.
We have the ambulance, so we rely on that more. We just had 5 people go to fire one, all passed. Well, one has to retake a test,
but they passed the class.
Mhm.
They passed the practicals, one just has to retake the test, which I think he'll pass hopefully in the next couple weeks.
Great.
The issue is when you do that, in our department, is we buy new gear.
Mm.
So that venture cost me about $25,000 out of my budget.
25,000?
New gear, 18 plus, 5 sets. Plus $1,200 each class, plus boots, helmet, everything else. So just so you know, that was a quarter of my budget went. And now I have another one going and he'll be done by May. End of May, I think it is. So hopefully we'll have 6 new firefighters by the end of the year, which is, well, we got 5 right now, but 6 by the end of the year, which is great.
Yeah, I think it's well worth it to have additional firefighters there.
But, you know, it's just, the gear we gave them is, it's almost 10 years old, which you have to, every 10 years you gotta replace, so. Is what it is, we gave them the older gear for a fire one, cause you don't want them losing new gear,
Hmm,
so, and we got rid of a lot of gear the last couple of years because of out of date. But a lot of hose we kind of went through, so we weren't testing a lot of the hose, we put a lot of it back in the shed or got rid of it was out of date, or of course, once it fails, right? So we don't have a ton of our on our rack, which is working out great. A, it's less labor to transfer everything over, and B, you don't have to pay to test it all the time. Before, back in the day, they always had a lot of hose on the rack, so we don't do that anymore. Kind of a little different theory, so. We have the 3 trucks, fire trucks, 2 engines and ETs and a ladder. Ladder's 20+ years old. ET2 is about 12 years old, and ET1 is being replaced by hopefully June or July, the new one will be in. So the old one's 30 years old, so,
and those are part of the capital budget?
yeah, that was a $750,000 truck.
Okay.
So they're thinking June-ish. Time we get it, the time they come in and get everything mounted and everything else, I'm thinking July-ish. You saw my recruitment retention, money from last year went up. From 35 to 41. If you speculate and go out, I think another 10 more people will make that easily. So if all the people that are on there now, I add 10 more, I'm gonna be adding another $20,000 to that budget, which is way over what I'm asking for
For this year,
for next year.
the next fiscal year, you will add that.
Just if
Yeah.
people, you have to be a year in to be eligible, and the people that aren't in, there's like 10 on my list that will definitely,
Okay,
if they keep on going the way they've been, there's gonna be 10 more people on this list next year.
okay.
So just to give you a heads, I know Griswold's over, I was looking at their budget, I don't know where that money comes from. So how that comes out of the budget,
Yeah, we got a transfer from the Board of Finance. or
okay,
something.
yeah.
Eric would have to go.
And you get more people, you have more physicals, and physicals, I just had to send someone up and there was $510 for a physical. From 390.
So where are you doing your physicals?
Well, same with Tom, we're
Same,
going
you'll
to
be-
go to
okay,
Concentra. Yeah,
alright.
we have to move from position 1 to Concentra.
All right,
We tried Plainfield also, and we ended up by yeah, I think we're gonna end up by going to Concentra also.
okay,
Yeah, but like I said, I just sent one to physician 1 and they were $510 for the full physical. So I'm guessing they're all gonna be like that. So
Where do you get your physicals?
In Central,
Et cetera?
they do our drug and alcohol testing and physical.
issue with Concentra is you can't go on the weekends and you have to go by
Yeah.
2:30 during the day.
Pretty
That's
soon,
what-
Yeah, that's the bad part.
but it's
Physician
not, are you getting in? You're not having to wait, because Tom was saying.
We
that
just
people
got,
wait
I mean,
4 hours.
it just kind of, next week I'm gonna start putting out the people.
Okay.
You'll see on the increase on the phone, bill,
Right.
in iPads, we're using a new thing called TrueForce, which is through QV, which is our dispatch. So a lot of it's on the tablets now, when you leave the tablets, on the trucks. So that's kind of a new thing for us. It's been working pretty good.
So under training, you have listed computer program in-house. Is that something you're purchasing?
That is that's part of my ESO. Okay, we're paying $3,000 each department for
Right.
$9,000. There is another one coming out, which moves up in Plainfield trying. I don't know, because it kind of goes by the fire marshal, we follow the fire marshals. Because they'll kind of works its way down to us,
Yeah.
really good point. So there's a new one coming out, that Firehouse used to be the old one. And this, people that left Firehouse are starting a new company. So it might be something we might want to think about in a couple of years or every year, see how it takes off.
Would the
This is our,
programs. All the information on Firehouse transferred to the new one?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah, the people at Firehouse took over this new, started this new program.
Yeah,
So
but-
yeah, everything comes from QV and it dumps into a server.
mhm.
And then we go in and start putting it in. We haven't really started yet, because there's some glitches still. But hopefully in a couple weeks, we're gonna be starting all computerized. That's why another thing for the tablets too. Another reason we got the tablets too.
And then under equipment repairs. You went up, $600. but
Yeah.
You've got SCBA packs. Did you guys circle all them out or not yet?
Our SCBA packs.
Did we
Are,
start the new purchase yet?
no,
Okay.
32.
Okay,
2032 is when the capital has it in the thing. The issue is I have to get bottles.
that's what I was thinking. If they're not, then you gotta get bottles.
I gotta get bottles. I don't know if I wanna, because how do we know what brand we're going to in
Right,
32?
Next time, right?
So I'm trying to look for used
ones,
bottles
Somebody turning theirs in.
early, yes,
Yep.
that's my plan.
Okay.
Now, we're phasing some out, so we only have 2 per pack. We do have extras. So when the new, like this year, I think we got 5 or 6 coming up, we're not gonna replace it. We still have enough for two packs, 2 per pack. But once we hit that 40, when I hit my number 40, then I'm gonna have to start figuring out what I'm gonna do. So I have shipments and other departments looking to see if there's anything out there. Okay. Trying to save a buck. Now, could I use more than 2%? God, yeah, but.
No,
Yeah.
I was. Looking at some of your notes here.
Well, the tanks you said in 32,
Is that so it says in the long term, right? 32, 2000?
there's no date on it.
Okay, yeah, Jim's is 32 is what is the expectancy of the old pack. These packs we have 15 years and then, yeah.
But,
Just like the
Yeah, there's
bottle,
no
yeah.
date on it.
Yeah, 32. But the problem is, if we get the new packs, we have to get a new
Compressor.
compressor. Because the new compressors, the old compressor doesn't hold the ballistics of the new bottles,
What's the pressure of the new ones?
45s.
So Grizzle should be good,
Well-
because they have 45 per, yes, I know. What do you have now?
No, 55s, 55.
55.
It's higher than what we have.
Okay.
We both have to get new compressors, which is a team of 100,000 each. For these compressors, which isn't.
But they should have resale value. of some
Well,
type, I would think.
You
I
guys,
think so, because they're working great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was a grant, right? That was a grant?
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This says. 1990. And the priority. 1993. Is that when it was purchased?
For the
The
Cascade?
compressor?
Yeah, that's about right. Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah, they come in, we do the maintenance, we pay for the maintenance, and that's on here too, and in the air quality test and everything else,
Yep.
they come out and do it quarterly, have to do it.
Yeah, so you don't have a choice.
The choice, yeah. Besides that, everything else is kind of, oil, you just try to keep this year, I think we got a little lucky because it's warmer. I do have people that like to stay at the station, not overnight, but during the day. So I tell them, go in the room and wear a sweatshirt. I'm not turning it up. I'm not turning the heat up. I keep it like 58, 60. The max.
Yeah, the price went up, but really the demand of the cold hasn't really driven the use up too much.
And I don't know this, is the oil price, is it yearly or is it by every time we get oil? Fuel?
It's,
It used to be a contract.
state bid, I think we're still on state. bid.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so.
Yeah, I
So
think that was
until they
340,
rebid it.
343. That's what we're paying now. Okay. That's all.
But I meant to ask Tom, did you guys hear anything about QB fees? Because Eric doesn't have that finalized. Sometimes you guys hear from county chiefs or something.
Yeah, no, me and Tom are on the board of QV.
And
So, not as of right now, they went up last year. I don't think don't hold me to this, but I don't think they're gonna go up this year.
I was just curious
Yeah.
because there's something we're looking to finalize here that Eric doesn't have.
Yeah, we don't have it.
I can always call if you want me to find out, I can call you, yeah. But everything else is, all the trucks are doing. Trucks are doing good, the older one has a little couple issues, but we're not gonna, I don't think I need to fix it, until, because new trucks coming. I can't want to spend money on something that's,
See if we can limp it along.
making a long term. Hopefully the next, when we get updates on the new truck, so.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I'm good.
Did trash removal go up or over the town? Because,
Yeah, I mentioned to Eric, it went up like my residential pickup
Right.
with Costello went to 175 a quarter, so I switched to CWPM, they're 111, so I asked Eric if he called for dumpster prices, maybe CWPM would save us some money.
well, CWPM for us at the greenhouse was double what I'm paying for Romantic now, for my dumpster,
Commercial.
for 4 yarder. Yeah, we called last week. And they were
I know,
or something, and Romantic was 2 something, so.
yeah, I know CWPM was trying to pick up residential base, that was their goal. And they said they picked up a lot and they're not gonna raise their prices because they picked up so much.
I
I
saw one-
didn't know about commercial, what they were doing.
I saw one of your meetings, you were talking about possibly trash in the future, possibly. I was watching one of your
Residential?
podcasts, yeah.
Well, I guess it would be business too, right? Residential.
No.
It's
commercial,
just strictly
they still be on their
residential?
own, yeah, it's
Okay.
just residential.
All right. All right.
So anyway, I think we're doing fire department wise and call wise, we had 600 calls last year, which is a slow year. But we don't do priority 2s anymore, so we're doing priority 2s, until the ambulance go out, would be over 800-900 calls. That's why it's nice to have the ambulance in town.
Yeah.
Which it's been good lately, it's been good, people have been watching, they had to go to Baltic, Lisbon had to go to Baltic, and Jewish City went to Lisbon, but they backfilled pretty quick. So. which
Yeah,
is good.
we just talked about that with them. Tom asked about the backfill.
Very good. So,
All right. Thank
Great.
you so much.
thank you, have a nice day.
Very good. You too.
You keep down Tommy's office.
Yeah, perfect, thank you.
Okay, so we don't have anybody here for public forum, so we're on to number 5.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
And all in favor,
All right.
motion carries. Thank you.
What time is it?
It is 5:02.